What's going on, everyone? This is kind of an unorthodox video in my opinion of what I usually do, but I usually just talk about my feelings. Now, a common trait of my videos that a lot of you guys talk about is that I hate on them. I just hate on Apple all the time and all this other stuff. And guys, I'm gonna clear up another rumor, and I already cleared it up like 3 days ago, but I don't think a lot of you guys heard it. I don't hate Apple at all. I love Apple and I use all their products. I own all their products and I always talk highly of them to other people in real life, but I really want them to succeed. And sometimes I feel like you gotta, criticize a company in order for them to make changes, so I'm not undermining what they did. But one hateful thing I keep seeing online, it's just common, like I see it all the time. It's like, man, Tim Cook ruined Apple. Steve Jobs was so much better, this and that. And yes, I do believe Steve Jobs was a better CEO, I guess. He helped create the company and everything like that. And honestly, a lot of people do say like, man, Tim Cook came out of nowhere. He's just like showed up and everyone, whatever. Now, the crazy thing is, okay, Tim Cook has been with Apple for many years, probably before some of you guys were even born, I think he started in like 1998, sometime around that time. He joined Apple, and it's crazy because Steve Jobs personally told him to join Apple, and that's crazy. How many times does like a person who's very high up in a company tell you personally to, hey, like, come join our company? We were doing crazy things. Apple was already worth a lot of money. I mean, not like what they're worth now, but they were a growing company. There's been a lot of downfalls, a lot of other crazy things, but that's pretty crazy in and of itself that a person as notable as Steve Jobs would tell a person like Tim Cook, who's not even in the company, for them to come join them. That's pretty crazy. Now, people think that Tim Cook took over after Steve Jobs died, but that's not actually the case, okay? Tim Cook, like I said, joined Apple in 1998, but he was actually the chief executive. He was a CEO since 2011. Now, he was the CEO before Steve Jobs died, okay? A lot of people think that Steve Jobs died, then he took that title, but crazy thing is, Tim Cook was given the position of chief executive officer, obviously CEO, and then a few weeks later, sadly, Steve Jobs actually died. So, that's kind of crazy. I mean, it's kind of like a crazy coincidence that happened, but it's a very sad thing. And that's a crazy thing too. Steve Jobs was there. He was kind of helping, guide him for a little bit of the process. But, Tim Cook and Steve Jobs were close for a very long time. And there's actually another crazy story about them too, but I'll talk more about that in a second. Now, the biggest thing and the biggest common thing that I see on Reddit in my comment section is just like people say innovation is slow, okay? And yes, I believe that right now, currently, I think they're just focusing on profits a lot more. I don't think they're worrying about the product so much. They're just worried about increasing revenue. They would not do things like remove the headphone jack. That was kind of stupid. Make the iPhone XR as priced high as it is, and removing the headphone dongles and small things like that. Ultimately, they're just trying to improve their costs and make way more money as a company because, that's honestly like the motive for a lot of these companies making money. So you can't really, undermine what Tim Cook has done either. Steve Jobs, he didn't really do the same thing, but he kind of did in a different way. He made a really awesome product, but he also priced it as such. And I think the iPhones are very awesome products too, but they're almost saturated because there's so many awesome products. But I really just went on a huge tangent there. Going with that mindset that Apple cares about profits and only money and all that stuff, I agree, like I said, but ultimately it's not just Tim Cook's fault. Apple has grown significantly since then. Apple has grown as a company humongously, so obviously they're doing something right. Since 2011, since he took over, they're doing something right. And it's not like Tim Cook is up there personally dictating every single thing that everyone does. They have analysts, they have engineers, they have all these different people that determine what to do, marketers even. It's not just like I said, it's not like Tim Cook is sitting up there telling everyone what to do. It's not a dictatorship. Obviously, he oversees a lot what the company does, and departments do kind of tell him what's going on, and I'm assuming he's really invested in the company a lot. And, people in the departments tell people who tell people who tell people higher up, who eventually tell Tim Cook what's going to happen. And he just kind of has to be like, okay, but he doesn't really he has much say, don't get me wrong, but he's not making all the decisions. It's not like all the pricing things he's just coming up with. It's not like all those things. Obviously, other people are doing those things too. So just to put all the hate on Tim Cook, I don't think that's very accurate. I'm always down to, hate on whatever. Hating on people is kind of a little bit different, but hating on products, I totally get that. I'm totally back for it. You should be able to criticize what you want to criticize. And obviously, you can hate on Tim Cook if you want to, but just know that there's a lot more other people out there who are making these decisions. So just to put the blame on just one person, I don't think it's right. Now, going back to the innovation thing, you could say that since 2011, whatever, yada, yada, but we've seen so much innovation since 2011 from Apple as a company. We've seen the iPhone 5. We've seen the iPhone 5S, the iPhone 6, the 6 Plus versions, the iPhone SE. We've seen the iPhone 10 designs, they kind of revolutionized the notchless design kind of thing. We've seen Retina MacBooks, since 2012. We've had the Retina MacBook Pros, and we've seen the regular 12-inch MacBook. Now we have the new iPad Pros, and that's a lot of innovation in just like a 7-year span. We've also seen the iPad Airs, the Apple Pencils, Apple Watches, AirPods, so many things. And a lot of those things have just been happening like the last couple years. And even 7 years, I mean, that's not a lot of time. I know it is a lot of time, don't get me wrong, but like that's a lot of things and a lot of innovation that Apple did in just like a 7 year span. Obviously, that time was under Tim Cook's reign. And a question I pose to you is like, would we have those products if Steve Jobs was still around? Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. That's the thing. Nobody really knows. But I'm kind of happy with the products we have. I just wish they were better. But at least we have something that's like pretty good, I'll say. So we have a lot of cool little products out there. So the innovation that just came since 2011 in and of itself is pretty notable. And like I said, those weren't just Tim Cook's ideas, okay? The good things and the bad things, I don't give Tim Cook all the credit for any of that. I give him some credit here and there, but those were all of Apple's, it's not just like one person making all these decisions, multiple people. Just like the price increase, that's a really bad thing. They really shouldn't really do anything like that. But to put all the hate on Tim Cook, I don't think that's accurate. Now, I do have problems with Apple as a company, Apple as a company, they really do a lot of weird things, but I don't think I think Tim Cook is a good guy. I've never really met him. I'm talking like he's like my brother, and I swear to God, I didn't even think about this. Apple did not hire me. Apple did not do anything to try to make me say this. This is all just my head. I didn't even think about it. I should have said that in the beginning. But no, Apple did not sponsor this video. I wish they did though, dude. I would have made bank if they did that. But now this video has been all over the place, Now here's the kind of sad thing, kind of good thing. It really makes Tim Cook look a lot better. When Steve Jobs pretty much said, he had whatever he had. I think it was a certain type of cancer that he died with. It was a type of disease, he died obviously from the disease that he had. Tim Cook actually offered part of his liver to Steve Jobs, and they actually shared a same blood type, which was pretty rare at the time, and it still is obviously. And the crazy thing is, when Tim Cook offered it to him, he was like, yo, you my mans, you want to swap livers real quick? No, he didn't say it like that, but he was like, would you like me to offer you my liver, this and that? And Steve Jobs actually said no. And that's pretty bold of him to say that. And that's actually pretty bold for Tim Cook to actually offer it too. So like, it wasn't just like a money thing for Tim Cook, in my opinion. I think he actually cares about people and cares about the impact that a company has and things like that. But I just think, like I said, there's just so many people behind him that it's insane to just put all the blame on him. And that's a cool thing for Tim Cook, that he did, to offer something like that to him. I mean, that's something that money can't really buy. Well, I guess it can in like the black market, but it's just a crazy thing that Tim Cook did, and I actually commend him a lot for it. Now, is it a valid argument that Apple could be better if Steve Jobs were alive? I kind of mentioned it earlier. Maybe so, maybe no, but we really don't know. Like, that's the thing. You could never know something like that. And, he could have possibly put out products that we wouldn't have liked, and it could have bankrupted Apple. Steve Jobs also put Apple in kind of a weird situation before too, but maybe Steve Jobs could have made Apple the first $5 trillion company, the first $100 trillion company, I don't know. But we will just never know that. But I think Tim Cook, he brings a lot to the table, He's trying to do some different things. Lately, it's been the same thing kind of over and over again, and they're doing some weird things overall. But I think Tim Cook has the right message and the right meaning, but he just has to listen to so many people that he's just kind of taking the blame. And, that's kind of common for CEOs. A lot of CEOs do take the blame, and that's kind of part of the job. But, I mean, in my opinion, it is what it is. So even though I'll kind of bring this back on me, I'm not a victim or anything, but I bash Apple all the time, and I'm critical about them all the time too. But I think it's pretty important to separate the people from the company. So Steve Jobs had some demons for sure, but Apple was a tremendous company. But now, it's kind of flipped, because now Apple has some demons, but in my eyes, Tim Cook is actually a tremendous person. So it's kind of switched up, but either way, I look at Apple kind of the same that I did, many years ago. I didn't really have any Apple products when Steve Jobs was around. I couldn't afford them myself. My parents I couldn't afford them, but I think I have respect for both of them, and I love both of them. I think they did tremendous things for Apple. Obviously, they've done tremendous things for the world. Steve Jobs obviously is way more of a historical figure, and he's going down in history 100%. But Tim Cook, I think he means well. He just kind of has to, maneuver a little bit better. But I'll tell you right now, everyone needs to stop hating on Tim Cook. Obviously, it's a free country. You can do whatever you want to. You can do it if you want. Like, I'm not going to get offended. But I think to kind of stir up the conversation, I think to put all the blame on Tim Cook is not the best thing, because there's so many people on him. And I don't think Tim Cook deserves all the praise either. It's all of Apple. It's Apple as a company, just like Steve Jobs. But Steve Jobs was crazy on how he did some things in a good way and also in a bad way. So that's kind of where I'm gonna end this off. This video was everywhere, but to take one thing away, it's this. Okay, Phil Schiller, okay, he's the reason I wake up in the morning. Okay, Phil Schiller, if you're watching this video, please hit me up. I have already DM'd you on Twitter like 20 times. Please just respond to me, man. I really appreciate it. I really want to get you on in a video, so if you can hit me up, I really appreciate it. But that is pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber we get really does count, so it'll mean so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel that is also linked down below. I would really appreciate if you guys could check that out. I'm also giving away an iPhone in December 28th. I'm giving away another one, so if you want to find out how to enter that giveaway, just click the first link in the description and it'll take you to a video. Literally, it's on YouTube, it's free to watch. Every time I say that, it sounds like I'm selling you a course. I'm not selling you anything. All you have to do is like subscribe to my channel, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and you have to like a tweet and like an Instagram photo, but those things are linked in that video, so go watch that video and then you'll find out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.